Gonna do a little clap thing.
Yeah.
To get the audio.
Do the clap. All right, do the clap. 3 claps. All right, maybe not too loud. There you go. I think you might have blew out.
Blew out the mic. Whoops. Whoopsies. Okay. Hello and welcome to Teacher's Pet, the video podcast. I am China Ang, your host, for as long as I damn well feel like it. And our guest today is Professor Monica Carter, a professor of political science here at Chaffey College. Welcome, Professor Carter. And it says here to applause, Jose. Thank you.
I'm cheering for myself.
How are you?
I'm good.
I haven't seen you in about a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't had your class since last fall, I think.
I'm ready for the election to be over.
You told me, girl. I'm so ready.
Deep breath.
Yeah. How are you feeling about? I mean, you teach political science. I'm sure that it comes up a lot in your classes. To think about it. Yeah.
A lot of passion. A lot of emotion.
Good
a lot
passion.
of threats. I've been threatened twice.
This semester?
Yes.
Oh my!
Police
it's October.
Police had to walk me to class.
From a student?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. A MAGA student, shocking.
I mean, I'll be your personal bodyguard if that helps. Dang! I mean, I don't know how much I can do,
tells you how unpopular I might be right now, but that's okay.
I mean, I recently, because I do this for every professor that I bring on here, and it's pretty 50-50 for all the professors I have on the roster on Rate My Professor.
Oh,
it's pretty.
That's funny. We should be the ones people hate on camera.
A lot of your hate ones are like, it's too hard. I'm like, ain't that college? But anyways, so I wanted to play a game of chess, but the two of you don't know how to play chess, and I'm, not to brag, I'm really horrible at it. It's really bad.
But you're the winner right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're winning.
Which never happens in my family. We went through a chess phase when Queen's Gambit came out, and everyone was playing chess in my family, and I never won. It was so... I just can't see the strategy. I don't have that strategic, war-like mind. But I like to...
I have it in politics, not in games.
Yeah.
So.
That's good. I also don't have it in politics.
Okay.
I like to start off these episodes with asking the teacher about your teaching philosophy and what you want for your students and what you want from them, more specifically.
Oh, great question. I want them to be more resilient.
Mm-hmm. I'd love for them not to threaten you anymore.
That would be great.
Yeah.
I love some intellectual nuance.
Mm-hmm.
Right now I get black and white thinking.
Yeah.
I would love them, first of all, just to have an opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Howard Zinn says you can't be neutral on a moving train, and we live in a society in which the train is moving. You get on it or you don't. And I need them to have opinions, and not be afraid of those. But I understand that they haven't been taught to have opinions. They've been told that to be fearful of their opinions. They're afraid that they're not going to have friends if they give their real opinions, but there's no real intellectual closeness or depth or friendship if you're not honest. So I look for honesty, and so I try to start with that first in my own life, and then I try to encourage them to be honest. You just can't have intellectual discussions if you're not honest. You know how people say, oh, we don't talk about religion or politics at the table?
Yeah.
We need to talk about religion and politics at the table.
I always tend to be the one to bring it up.
Yeah,
my family
otherwise
hates me for it.
no one has any honesty or any
Yeah.
practice in deliberative democracy.
Mm-hmm.
People just think, oh, don't say anything and you're safe. And look where that's gotten us.
Very yikes, very no, it's great. That's a great point. I don't want to call anyone out, but I do have a friend in your online class right now, and I know that he talked to you recently, and I was like, do you have any questions you would like me to ask Professor Carter? And he was like, I don't know, man, I don't know what's going on in the class right now. And I think he talked to you recently, and he got like a 3 out of 100 on an assignment.
Oh, I know who he is.
Yeah. He's in choir with me, and he had me look over his assignment. And I was like, I don't know how to say this in a way that's, like, helpful. Because I'm to them, because they're my friends, I'm very, like, dude, this is kind of dumb. But I couldn't say it in a way that was helpful, that was like, I don't think you really said anything that was helpful. But, yeah, I don't think he was being honest about his opinions. And he kind of was just skirting around. Do you get that a lot in your class of like people being a little bit coy about their opinions and
Well,
about?
the online class is different animal beast, so I
Yeah.
have to put that in a different category.
Mm,
Online doesn't mirror human interaction. It
yeah.
just doesn't. I don't care what the school says. It's
Mhm.
not the same.
Mhm.
But face to face, I ask for honesty. But I think that people can't get to know me until I'm honest.
Mm.
I can't have a level of honesty online. I just can't. And so you get sort of half of me.
Mhm.
You don't get the full me, like you would have in a face to face class, because I'm talking to you. You're a human.
Yeah.
If I make a mistake, I can go, oh, my bad. I'm
Mhm.
sorry. You
Mhm.
can't do that online because people, get, this crazy courage behind a computer,
Screen,
a screen that they don't get. The things they say to you, they wouldn't say to your face.
Mhm.
So we're not really having honest conversations in an online class. So face to face would be different.
Yeah, I remember specifically from your class, from your in-person class, because I took it in person. I hate online classes.
I do too.
I hate them.
I didn't even want to take my own online class.
Yeah. I remember you don't allow technology at all, because I remember people taking out their phones and you telling them to get out of the class.
No, I told them to put their phone away first.
Yeah, that's very true. And then
class.
they think that they can get away with it, and then that happens. And I haven't had that sort of thing in a class since maybe 6th grade or maybe middle school, where phones weren't allowed or a laptop wasn't allowed or an iPad wasn't allowed. And I think at the time I had your class, I was taking a social media break, so I was already not on it.
Wasn't a big deal.
It wasn't a big deal for me, but I remember a lot of kids having a hard time with it. And it's just pen, paper, and your notes in your class. And I feel like I thrived in that. Because I also have Professor Loomis, and I do take notes on my iPad, but I have it on airplane mode. And because honestly, it's hard to take notes in his class, because I can just, on the iPad, I can just circle it and move it, because I need more room.
Yes.
But I think in your class it created an environment where we really needed to talk to each other and to you. And you specifically challenged our like belief systems and our opinions. Yeah. And sometimes you kind of had to, because of sort of the political climate, you have to say, I don't believe this, by the way.
Yeah. I think as a couple things. I think the no technology, the students who have a problem with that are addicted and are afraid to admit that. If you can't sort of sit for 75 minutes and have a conversation, then you are addicted. Now, by the way, I love technology. I have all the latest thing. I love Canvas. I have the exact light at home.
You have an Apple Watch on right now,
I mean, so for people who would spread rumors and say I don't like technology, that's not true. What I don't like is something in the middle of us talking. All the research says that there is no such thing as multitasking. When you try to do more than one thing at a time, you're task switching, and it takes you on average about 20 to 23 minutes to get back to the next task after you've task switched. Oh. So when you are sitting at a restaurant and you have your phones out, you're not listening to your friend, you're not connecting, you're not talking, you're not hearing, you're just sort of saying to that person, you sort of half matter to me, I just want to be here and I want to be entertained to death. And conversation can't happen when people just want to be entertained, when they can't even focus. And I think we have a problem with students not even being able to focus. If you can't focus, you can't solve political problems. And so I say, I'm here to teach you how to learn how to talk to each other, but you can't do that if you have something in the middle between us and you refuse to actually listen. So I think students probably are shocked by it, because very few people have, professors maybe have the courage to say, we're not doing any of that here. We're doing something different. Your second question was, I often have to play devil's advocate, because earlier I was saying that if students haven't been taught to have an opinion, they certainly don't know the opposite. Yeah. Right? If I don't know, if I've lived in California my whole life, and I believe in a liberal ideal of women's bodies are their own, I don't have any clue what the opposite argument is. Now, there's two reasons why I need to know it. One, if I want to continue to have my side to be stronger, I need to know the other side first, so that I can make my side stronger. Two, oftentimes people have ideas that are based off of propaganda that's been sent to them, Instagram, TikTok, whatever, and they have no clue that the propaganda is, for lack of a better word, ridiculous. so what I have to do is just sort of shock them into getting the other side. Not the goal to try to make them think like me. I don't need another mini Professor Carter. But to get them to at least be honest about what they think.
I
and
remember
it's okay to have different thoughts. But if I see the class moving one way, I'm going to take the opposite direction.
Yeah. I remember there was a specific exercise that I still like think about to this day, where you had us put the side we were on or something on the whiteboard, and slowly you would cross out why you
it
you
was
could
ridiculous.
Like yeah it was awesome just seeing, because I remember I put 2 of them up there and I was just like, okay, I really have to like, because I feel like I had your class along with Professor Loomis's history 18 class, so U.S. history back, like I would alternate on Monday and like Monday, Wednesday, and then Tuesday and Thursday with him, and they were the 2 classes that I can say with certainty that I learned how to learn in it. And I think that's I didn't learn that in high school because I was a gifted child throughout elementary school and middle school, and I kind of just, school was just easy.
Everybody just always thought you were right.
Yeah.
Oh, they didn't challenge you.
That as well. Well.
She's smart. You don't have to challenge her.
Yeah, and I learned that I wasn't as good at school as I thought I was in high school, but I was also preoccupied with like marching band and music and stuff, so I wasn't really learning to learn anymore. I was learning to pass a test.
High school's not a place for you to learn anyway.
Yeah.
All the high school teachers are gonna hate you.
I'm gonna have.
I just mean it's more set up as a click factory than it is for a learning factory.
That's very true. I don't talk to anyone from my old high school except for the teachers now, and I'm gonna have one of them here hopefully by next semester, and I'm gonna ask. She's my old English teacher. I'm gonna ask her about the literacy crisis and all that stuff, because but in high school I really was not taught critical thinking, and I know that in your class you always draw a really big triangle. I was gonna say a little one with like the steps. Could you take
Bloom's
us?
taxonomy?
Yeah. Could you take us through? Because I don't know where my notes are, and I know I have it in there, but take us through that sort of.
So on the bottom you have knowledge.
Yes.
So that's the basics.
Yes.
So students study for the basics. Do I know this stuff? Can I repeat it? The next one is comprehension, right? You can know it, but do you know how it actually works, right? I know I'm on an airplane and I'm going somewhere, but do I know how the airplane works?
Right.
Probably not. So knowledge, comprehension, analysis. I might be getting them out of order, but I apologize. Knowledge, comprehension, analysis, and then you're going to have evaluate, synthesis, and evaluation. I think I'm missing one. But the point is to get you to get you knowledge, comprehension, synthesis, anyway, someone can look it up.
Yeah.
But the point is to take you as a student from the bottom to knowledge to where you're comfortable to all the way to analysis, synthesis, and evaluation. Those are my 2 top 3. Analysis, synthesis, and evaluation. Can you analyze what's wrong with this idea? Can you bring in other ideas to go with it? And then can you overall say, this idea sucks, but here's how I make it better.
Okay.
So analysis and evaluation is my goal in every class, to take students from from the bottom to the top 3 of Bloom's taxonomy. And sometimes it's a struggle.
I remember our class, it took a while for you to stop.
At least 10 weeks.
Yeah, pointing. Yeah. And by the end of the class, I remember, I think there were just 2 of us kind of going back and forth. And it wasn't me. It was not me. It was someone else who were like confident that they knew how to get to the last step, and then the rest of us would just go along.
But that's okay.
Yeah. I feel like
process.
I should just take more of your classes.
Well, I think students are so used to instant gratification that they want to know the answers right away, and you just can't. It's okay for it to be a process. You keep learning. You can keep practicing in other classes. It doesn't have to just be me. It's just, even in your life, okay? Why should I not be with this guy who wants to date me? Okay, I know these things about him, knowledge. Okay, because of that, I know, right? He's going to be late all the time, comprehension. Okay, and as I keep going up, analysis. Can I handle the fact that he's going to be late for the next 10, 12 years if I marry him? Okay, and if he's going to be late, what else is that going to correspond with? Is he going to be late picking up the little kids? Probably, and I'm okay with that, right? And evaluation, does he have good traits that sort of block all those things out, and I can hire somebody to go pick up the kids or whatever, and it's not a big deal. Those are life lessons.
Yeah.
It's not just politics. It's how you make decisions.
I once broke up with a guy because he was 30 minutes late for one date, and I didn't give him another chance. I was like, nope, to be early, to be on time.
You didn't have
Goodbye.
any reason, though? Maybe you had a flat tire.
No. See, Jose knows. No.
Oh,
Mm-mm.
man.
I wanted to ask you about the different. How many different generations have you taught specifically? Because I know
That's a
Professor
great
Falcioni
question.
actually mentioned you as one of his more like memorable teachers
Oh
when
my
he first started here.
I
So
don't remember teaching him.
I think
He probably was in Dan Loomis's class.
I think he mentioned you in when he was actually a teacher here.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
for sure. Yes. Well, let's see. I'm Generation X,
Okay.
so I would have taught millennials,
Mm-hmm.
Gen Z, and now Alpha.
What do you see as the biggest difference between those three?
Oh, wow.
Because I know that my generation specifically,
Your
we
Generation
grew
Z?
we grew up on the internet. So
That's a big difference.
yeah, I was addicted to my iPad like when I
You
was
guys
10 years
are
old.
a little bit more snowflake-ish.
Really?
Yeah.
Slay.
The
Not slay.
millennials are tend to have a little bit more resilience,
Okay.
maybe because their parents were Gen Xers and we went home with a key around our neck.
Mm.
So we let ourselves in the door and
Mhm.
it was like just survive.
Yeah.
Whereas millennials got a little bit of that.
Mhm.
They tend to be, in a good way, people who say, I'm going to have work-life balance. That's a good thing. They're not
Mhm.
going to just work themselves to death.
No.
Gen Z, though, tends to be, statistically, that I've seen, tends to be more moral, surprisingly. Millennials tend to have more babies out of wedlock. Gen Z tends to be more, I don't know if I want to say moral, but a little bit less hesitant to engage in a lot of sexuality.
Okay.
It might be because porn is rampant. So, you figure why use a real person if you can have a not real person. I don't know. But I think Gen Z has just been deprived of their ability to have an opinion via their parents.
Mhm.
Of course, not all parents. So, I'm not talking about every parent. but
You're
they
talking
just-
about my parents.
They just haven't been taught that they can have an opinion.
Mhm.
And I think the biggest problem I've had lately is that everyone's has been given a trophy at Little League. And so everyone thinks
Mhm.
that they're awesome.
Mhm.
And then when they get a bad grade, they're like, you
Yeah.
can't give me a bad grade.
Yeah.
Everyone gave me a star.
Is there more of an entitlement sort of
But
mentality
yeah,
in
but your work
education?
stinks. And so
Mhm.
who loves you more? The one who says you have, toilet tissue between your legs when you come out the bathroom?
Mhm.
Or the one who just laughs and ignores you,
Mhm.
right? It's the one who says, hey, China,
Mhm.
I want you to be better. And I know you can, right? And so they're just not, in my opinion, I don't think they're used to that. And once they recognize that I have their best interests, then it works well.
Mhm.
But, the people who don't recognize that,
Mhm.
they pout and they complain and, they go to rate my professor.
Yeah, they go and rate my professor and rate you as a 1, which is crazy because I loved your class. And I was like, you're sure? And then I read through Professor Loomis's as well, and I was like, okay, yeah. I'm seeing a pattern of
Well,
like...
I mean, that's not a good way to pick a professor. Anyway.
Yeah. I never look on it to actually look for my professors. I look after. I'm just like,
to see
what?
if it's true.
Yeah, I was like, I rarely, at Chaffey anyways, I mean, I've had some bad teachers here, but some who, like, left mid-semester sort of thing. But I've had a lot of really great teachers as well who have not gotten very good rate my professors. Usually the rate my professors, the really high ones, are the ones that are not engaging with the class, or the quizzes are easy and the tests are easy, and
but you have
I don't want that.
You have to look at the level of who would go to a site like that and rate.
Right.
So if you go to a restaurant and you love the meal,
Mhm.
you're gonna go and rate it if you loved it.
Mhm.
You're gonna go and rate it if you hated it. You're not gonna go if you're in the middle.
Yeah. Very true.
It's the same thing with politics. You're going to scream if you hate someone. If you really love them, you're going to get a banner and put it in front of your house. In the middle, it's just going to kind of go along. So you get pushed by extremes.
Yeah. I do. And for any of the Gen Zers who are watching this who got defensive when Professor Carter was like, yeah, you guys are not as resilient, why are you being defensive? First of all.
But I did think they were more moral.
That's
So that's
that's
a good
very
thing.
true. That's very
They're much more respectful than millennials, which is
Really?
really nice. They are.
I
Yeah,
heard.
they're thoughtful, and they recognize that they don't want their feelings hurt, so they try not to hurt other people's feelings. That's a good thing.
That's great. That's
Yeah.
good. I heard that for teachers, especially during Zoom University, like Gen Z started the
During
whole like thank you at the end of lessons, and we've kind of carried it over to in-person classes. I always say thank you at the end of my classes,
Oh,
or
interesting.
like a goodbye or
I've
something.
heard students say that to me today. I just didn't know. I just thought they were just being very kind.
Yeah, I think it's like a new because we really saw teachers struggle, and we really didn't like seeing them struggle, and we were like, thank you so much. I know that I haven't been paying attention and my camera's off, but thank you.
How beautiful.
Yeah.
That's a blessing
Yeah.
for me to hear that. I've heard many students your age say that. Now I know why.
Yeah.
That's great.
Because of Zoom University. Speaking of, I mean, we talked about a little bit how we both sort of hate the online classes. Do you think Chaffey is sort of pushing for more online classes post-COVID or even a little bit before? Do you see that is sort of a pattern? That there are a lot more available?
I think Chaffey's ultimately a business, and so they're going to push to the direction that students are pushing. And so, yeah, they're going to push wherever they can make classes make. If students aren't going to sign up for them, there's no business.
That's very
And
true.
so, yeah, they're pushing more online classes. I don't think that's to the benefit of students because they're basically teaching themselves.
Yes.
Online advocates wouldn't agree with that, but they're not being honest.
Because you can't be honest behind the screen. I know that.
Let me say in politics anyway.
Okay.
There's a difference between, maybe you can do it in communication or social or philosophy, I don't know. But in politics, you don't get the same interaction online or learning about deliberative democracy as you do in face-to-face. If I say to you, the homeless or the unhoused stink and they should go away, and they all have mental illness issues. If you have a computer, you have a moment to come up with a response that's very cordial and, versus if we're talking, you just suck in your teeth. And I have to deal with that, and I have to say, okay, China, I'm sorry, that probably was insensitive, let's talk, right? But if there's a phone or a text, you can just put it down and say, oh, she's such a, bitch or whatever.
Scroll away.
And then, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to curse. But,
Fine. We're all adults in here.
But you don't have time to calm down and respond, which in politics is good, because you have to self-regulate.
Right. And we don't see that a lot.
No.
Right now. Yeah. Anyways, and how important do you think that the whole talking to each other thing is to our democracy and to critical thinking? Because I've been trying to get through Not for Profit by Martha Nussbaum, because Professor Falcioni told me that would be a good. He told me that would be a good book, and it's about how important the humanities are and critical thinking is to our democracy, and I'm seeing a pattern that talk to each other because it's good for you. Yes. And I'm not seeing a lot of. I mean, we're seeing an influx of students coming back on campus, but what was it like before COVID of what the Chaffey campus sort of looked like? It was full. Yeah. It's less full now. Yeah. It was more lively because it's full. You have bodies, people are there engaging. I used to be able to teach double classes, which 100 or more, which is fabulous for politics. I did that for probably 18 years, but that's no more after COVID. Now you can only teach single classes just because they can't make meaning have enough students in them. I don't know, students just seem to be tired, and I don't blame them. It's the world moves so fast, so full of information, it's hard to keep up, and it gets exhausting. I mean, that's why people go home and Netflix and chill. And I don't mean the sexual part of that, I just mean the actual chill when it meant the word it meant in the 80s. Relax. just chillax. I don't mean the new generation. Yeah. And people want to turn off, and they don't really, have a hard day, they don't really feel like talking to someone if it's going to be complicated. Do you find that my generation is a little less confrontational when it comes to... Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I have to work really hard to hear their opinions. Pull it out. Yeah.
Yes.
I remember
absolutely.
participation is a huge thing in your in-person classes.
Yes.
And that really helped me come out of my shell, and because I used to not talk during classes. I love it when Professor Loomis is just talking and I'm just doing this. I'm just looking up, and he very rarely gives us time to actually talk about class. And
Okay.
usually when you do, it's usually the guys talking about warships or something. I tune that out.
A lot of history.
Yeah.
That's okay. Everybody has different styles, so that style is more lecture.
Yes. Yeah. What was I gonna ask? Okay.
Oh, you said you're able to come out of your shell and start talking more class.
Has that been sort of a new thing in schools? Because I feel like people used to be a little bit more outspoken, and I feel like in elementary school I was a little bit more outspoken, but post-COVID I really became a very quiet kid.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see that in a little bit of our generation a little bit more?
I just think technology wears people out. It makes you more introverted. Everybody's in their silo, right? Before you had to go to the movie theater, we had to say, okay, China, you want to go to the movies? Yes. What movie do you want to watch? We don't have to do that now. Now we can sit next to each other and stream different movies and not say anything to each other like parallel play. Yeah. And you like Instagram, I like TikTok or whatever, and we can say that we hung out, but we didn't even talk to each other. We were just in the same room. And that doesn't allow people to talk about the things they need help with, the things that they're struggling with. People will just reach to that technology device and try to solve their problems, and it's quite sad. So yeah, people don't have to talk to each other because they feel like technology is their savior. Yeah. And they look to it for everything. I'll give you a great example. My kids are grown. I have 2 grandsons. One day my kids were gonna, I don't know, one of the kids was younger and they were gonna put together a crib or a playpen or something. Okay. And I watched them look it up on YouTube. And I'm like, what am I for? You literally looked it up on YouTube, and you're sitting in a room of elders who all know how to put. You could just ask them, but it felt more natural. No shade on my kids, but it felt more natural to just immediately pick up the phone and look up YouTube than to say, "Hey, show me how to do this," which would have been a really memorable moment. I spent time with them. We figured it out together. Like, where does this go? And that. I will say I'm pretty guilty of telling my parents, just look it up. I'm not gonna, especially if it's about the internet or Wi-Fi or, I'm just look it up. I'm sure it's on Google. To fix it. Yeah. But it might be an attempt for them to spend time with you. I don't know your parents. Yes. I don't know. It could be. So we were talking about democracy earlier, and I know that there's a huge vote, and I know that I talked to you a little bit on email about how this is going to go out before October 21st, because that's the last day to register or something. I remember from the last election, I had just turned 18. Okay. And I was not yet a citizen, so I couldn't vote. Okay. Which sucks. And I think that was deliberate on my parents' end, because they were citizens. I don't know why I wasn't, because they knew I was going to vote differently from them. They forgot they had kids. Yeah. And they knew I was going to vote differently. But they made it feel like that younger vote was really, really important. In your opinion, how important is this? Is our vote in this next election? Because I feel like our generation, especially my generation, what I'm seeing on the internet is that we've become incredibly complacent in this one. We've kind of just, there's no way he'll win again. Yes. It happened before. A bunch of y'all voted for freaking Kanye and Harambe, and it happened. And Bozo the clown. Yeah, exactly. Trying to be cute about it. I remember someone voted for themselves at one point, and it was a whole Twitter thing, and there were so many votes for Harambe for some reason, because people became really complacent in their participation in our democracy. And how important do you think that Gen Z vote really is? Well, a California kid. For president? I guess not that important. Yeah. For Congress, absolutely. For swing states, pivotal. Right. Young people can change over swing states just if they all went out and vote. Ohio, Nevada, Pennsylvania, Florida. If they went out and voted, let's use Florida as an example. Florida tends to dominate with seniors.
Yes.
If all of the young college students in Florida went out and voted, they could nullify the senior citizen vote. The problem is they don't vote, and then the seniors get what they want, whatever candidate they want, usually the older candidate. And then the younger people say, well, we never get anybody we want. Well, because you didn't vote. So you have to go out and vote, especially if you're in a swing state. You really should go out and
California.
vote and take your friends. But you should vote in California either, because you may not live here forever. And practicing and going out and voting gets it sort of in your blood and in your genes. And you go vote. Even if you don't know any of the other candidates on the ballot, just vote for president. You can turn in a ballot with just one vote on it. Just turn it in.
You should do it, people
essential.
from Florida. I know you guys are watching. I forgot to ask this earlier. It's literally on my list. But was there a specific teacher for you that kind of set you on this path? Or do you remember a certain name that pops up immediately when you think about favorite teachers or influential ones?
I took a constitutional law class at Dominguez Hills, Jean Curran. She was fabulous. I don't know if she's still alive, but she was great. She sort of brewed my love for the Constitution, free speech. We did murder cases, we did civil cases, we talked about civil rights, we did all of those things. Just made me come alive, and she made us carry out scenarios and cases, and she's part of the reason why I do in my class. We must talk, we must work things out, we must talk about current events. We're not going to just sit. I'm never going to just sit and lecture. That's just not my style, and it bores me, so I know it'll bore everybody else.
Was it always
have
teaching
conversations?
For you? Yeah. Was it always teaching for you, or was there ever a time that you thought about maybe becoming a lawyer? I did for about a hot second.
So did I. And then I realized lawyers, probably 80% of their job is research. Yeah. So they're in the library researching cases. Yeah. I don't want to do that. Only 20% of the time are they in court. I used to want to be an airplane pilot.
Really?
Why? Until I failed math.
Yeah.
Well, because I love to travel. I go somewhere twice a year internationally.
Where's your favorite place so far?
Oh my gosh, New Zealand.
Really? Did you ever go to
my
the
latest
Hobbit
place was. I took my husband to the Hobbit for his 50th birthday.
It's my goal.
Hobbiton, which is fabulous.
Because they have sustainable, or it's actually made out of wood now, so it's gonna be there forever.
They're a huge green country, New Zealand is. When we got off the airplane, I had to put my boots into this cleaning system off the plane.
Wow.
So that I wouldn't bring any invasive species into their land.
Yeah. That's why they did so well during COVID.
Oh man,
they did so well.
But I actually just came back from Scandinavia. I went to Norway, Finland, Sweden, and Denmark for 30 days.
When did you go? Over the summer? Is it nice there over the summer? Or
our
our summer?
Fabulous.
Yeah.
It was the only thing that bugged me was the all-day sun. Yeah. And that was for about 5 days, and that was starting to make me crazy.
Probably bad for your circadian rhythm or whatever that's called.
Yeah, I was a maniac after a while, and so I didn't get some sleep. But other than that, Norway is beautiful.
Oh my God, someday.
And I love the fact that their political system is
what's it like over there?
Awesome. I'll give you an example. You know how this is election season, and you see all these big signs, vote for me, vote for me. And the people with the bigger signs, you tend to see their signs bigger. Even on the way to Los Osos, you see how those signs are on the side. In Scandinavian countries like Norway and Finland, when they have elections, everyone's sign must be the same size. And they take your pictures, all by the same company, and they all look familiar. And you can put them up anywhere, right, during election season, 2 weeks before election season, 3 weeks before election season. And then you must take them down 25 days after the election. If not, you get fined. So an election is something you think about for a month or two, and then you are done with it, and the signs have to go away, and it's get back to regular life. Not like you see signs that say 2016, vote for Mr. Whatever, such and such, and you're like, 2016? Yeah. They stay forever. And it just makes you feel like you're always in an election cycle. But there, they have rules that say the sign should be the same, vote for people based on not money, but the policies, and then when we're done, we're done. Move on with your life.
There isn't a whose stick is bigger sort of competition.
No.
That's nice.
And you can the signs go away and you can move on with your life. You can be like, okay, we're not in an election right now.
That's awesome.
It is awesome.
That's so freeing.
But what would Americans say? No one's going to tell me how big my sign can be.
My free speech.
My sign should be as big as ever.
My First Amendment
And if
rights.
I want big letters on it, it's going to have big letters.
Yeah.
And if I want to leave it up, God damn it, I'm leaving it up as long as I
right.
want.
I'm paying for it. Yeah.
Yes.
I do think that that's one way that our free speech kind of bites us in the butt a little bit. I recently wrote a paper for Professor Falcioni. It was a really bad paper. Wrote it half on the plane.
Uh-huh.
I was not lucid enough to write a paper like that. I don't know why I did it on the plane, but
Right.
it was about censorship and it was about like freedom of speech, and I did have to go through like these are the reasons why it kind of bites us in the butt.
Uh-huh.
And it's a lot of like, it's just differing opinions, and like people with more money have a little bit more access to their freedom of speech, and you know, people with less money don't have that much
Freedom of speech.
yeah, I
well,
guess.
everybody loves freedom of speech until until someone says something they hate.
That's very true.
Right? That's kind of a saying I say in my class. Oh, we all want freedom of speech until someone says something that offends you. Then you don't want to protect their freedom of speech. But that's the most important time to protect freedom of speech, is when someone says something that offends you.
I'm sure that whoever threatened you was offended by something.
Oh,
That's
I'm
crazy.
sure he was offended, and I'm offended by his threats.
Yeah.
But he has the right to give them, and that's okay. And I have the right to get protection, but he has the right to give me those and deal with the consequences.
That's true. Has that ever happened in a class
What?
before? Like you had to
broken up fights, not to me though.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, the one guy actually tried to charge me once, and the students came and stepped in front of him. That was probably 10 years ago. Former military man. He might have had a few issues, but yeah, I've had to break up fights in class.
Wow.
Between students. Yeah.
I feel like my class was so like subdued.
It was.
We were just like, I mean, yeah, I guess, I mean, pro-life, pro-choice. I feel like
That
those
shows
are
that
opinions
apathy.
yeah,
Right?
that's true.
I don't really care. Whatever.
Yeah, I feel like I remember having friends in that class and them having to like tell me that they're not having the grade that they usually get in that class because they're. I was like, "Are you talking? Are you participating?" They're like, "I can't get a word in," and I'm like, "I feel like not enough people are talking for you to not get a word in."
Interesting.
Yeah, I feel like if more than 5 people in the class are talking, at least in that class specifically, they didn't want to talk anymore, and it was scary to speak out about something because I feel
like afraid.
Yeah, and we live in like cancel culture and all that stuff. So you know, we grow up being afraid of, as you said, we're afraid of having our own opinions, or we didn't grow up with our own opinions. But I feel like in that class specifically, I was like, but we have this teacher right here who's a moderator and who will challenge whatever.
Yeah. And if you raise your hand and I never hear from you, I'm picking on you first.
That's true.
Because I want to hear from you.
Yeah.
I've already heard from the 5 people over and over.
Yeah.
So
and I will say I was one of the 5.
I'm picking you 1st. Yeah.
I feel like
you were one of the 5.
I was one of the 5. I'm proud to say that I was one of the 5 who I'm pretty sure I got an A in your class. So
probably did. Yes. You can get an A if you just talk.
Yeah. So I told the friend that I had who was taking your online class, and I was like, I told you not to take the online class. I told you, because I've been recommending it to a lot of people. I'm like, China, I'm scared. I don't want to do a class like that. I recommend Falcioni and I recommend Loomis, and no one ever takes my recommendations because they know what I'm like in class.
Yeah, don't recommend me online.
No. I recommend you in person.
You can still get things out of the class online, but you have to be really disciplined.
Yeah, I always recommend in-person classes. I never recommend online classes because right now I'm seeing what I'm like in an online class versus an in-person class, and I'm not gonna say anything because I'm not gonna be held to anything. But I'm not learning anything.
You're not the real China.
No. Because it's a history class. Because I'm a double major. I'm a music major and a history major, and I have like an ancient history class right now, and it's all asynchronous.
Yeah.
And hey, I don't study.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't look at those. I don't look at those PowerPoints.
That's tough. Yeah.
It's well, thankfully I took world history in high school, so I have those notes to go off of. But what was high school mean? Because those notes are nonsensical.
Yeah.
But I always recommend to my friends, take the in-person class. I don't care if you have to wake up at 8 a.m.
Or
go
hybrid.
in. Yeah, or hybrid.
Because you get to the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
You get I can do my own thing on that one day, and then I only have to see you once a week. Those classes are the best to me because I can teach you how to think deliberatively in class because we can debate once a week, and then all the other time you can do the foundational work on your own. And you just come in and we debate.
I think our class was hybrid because I was in once a week.
Yeah, okay, once a week.
So I would listen to the podcast or read the article and then take notes on it, and then do like a crossword or something on the article. And I remember
the current events.
Yes, we would do that, and that was always. I like when classes keep me up to date because I can't do it on my own. Did you feel like you knew more
about the news then?
Yeah.
Because you had to.
Yeah. I was also in Professor Loomis's class, had to do something in that because I was like an honors contract or something, and my project was supposed to be about current events. I didn't end up doing it, but because I was really busy, but I had to keep up, and it was the first time in my life where I was keeping up. And recently, actually, I wanted to ask you about this because I've seen in my generation, specifically in this last sort of year or so, a lot of us have been hands off. I've talked about complacency, but I remember my U.S. history professor in high school saying that we were the first generation to not really know what peace looks like, and maybe that's why we're so tired. Because I was born post 9/11.
Okay.
So, and I came to America in 2009, right after the
from
Philippines.
Okay.
Yeah. And right after like the whole what was that? The Great Depression, but in 2009, what was that called?
The recession.
The recession. The Great Recession. Hey, I wasn't here, so I don't know.
Right, everybody lost their house and nobody had jobs.
Yes. I wasn't here for that, but I did come after. So I sort of don't really know what America looks like in a time of peace. So do you think that is that a reason as to why my generation's sort of tired? Because I know that a lot of us have sort of been hands off with everything that's going around in the world, all the crazy stuff.
I don't know if I'd agree with that, though. I mean, I think that your generation, I said earlier, needs more resilience in terms of picking themselves up by their bootstraps and figuring it out and not feeling like you got a bad grade, it's the end of the world. So what? We all got bad grades. I did too. But I didn't, during 2020 and the George Floyd thing, I saw a Generation Z that was fabulous that said, you know what, enough is enough. We're standing up. I mean, of all diverse cultures, I thought that was fabulous to where they said, we're not taking this crap anymore and we're going to do something about it. And so that edge is in you. It just has to be things that you care about in order for you guys to just say, enough is enough. And, maybe the election, hopefully a candidate who doesn't necessarily like democratic institutions or is trying to be a strong man can encourage people to be like, enough's enough. But I guess time will tell. We'll know in a few weeks. But I don't think you're apathetic. I think you're just, it has to be something that you really care about.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of things that you guys are not apathetic about.
Very true.
A lot of things.
Yeah.
I have never seen so many students pay hundreds of dollars for nails, eyebrows and eyeliner and makeup in my life.
They really care about that. I mean, I used to get my
there are some things that your generation is not apathetic about.
Very true. Very true. Yeah, that's also very true to think about it. But God, I had a point.
I'm sorry. You said election in a few weeks, I think.
Oh yeah, I feel like I've been sort of off the ball recently about all that stuff, and I feel like a lot of my friends have been, or our generation. Thankfully I'm halfway in the breeze. I'm sort of going. I'm sort of not. And they have a whole democracy thing going on, and they're writing pieces about democracy.
Nice.
I had a point. I swear I had a point. I'm also on my period, so I have period brain.
Are you concerned about who the winner of the election might be?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The whole Project 2025 thing is a little scary. That's sort of the only... I tried to read through the 900 pages of that. I could not do it.
Right.
I could not do it.
Right.
And I know that the candidate for that, Donald Trump, did say that he wasn't going to implement Project 2025, but I mean...
Well, the Washington Post has a lie tracker on Donald Trump. It's 76,000 lies so far. So I'm not sure you can believe much of a person who...
Very true.
Would you hire him if someone lied 76,000 times to you? Would you give him a job?
Mm-mm.
No.
Mm-mm.
Did you marry a guy who lied to you 76 times?
Nope. Nope.
So I'm not sure we can trust what he says, which is
Right.
different. Which is this is the truth.
Yeah.
So if he says he's not going to implement it, if he becomes president,
There's a good
I
chance he
don't think we
will.
can trust that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know. God.
It's quite depressing
I-
today.
I only realized it's only gonna be in a few weeks because I've been so busy with school and like midterms, girl, the election.
We probably won't know the president is for a good 3 weeks after though.
Yeah.
Because of mail-in ballots.
Oh, that's true.
So it's going to take a while.
I don't remember much from the 2020 election. I feel like after the actual day, I was like hands off because I couldn't vote.
Yeah.
I had no voice in this. I mean, I did because I was pretty outspoken as an 18-year-old
Yeah.
for someone who couldn't vote in the United States.
But either side, whoever wins, either side's going to contest it.
Very
because
true.
we live in a nation now where people just contest things.
Mm-hmm. What do you think is the scariest part of how our elections have been going in the past, maybe since 2016?
I think the scariest part to me is that one man can hijack an entire party.
Mm-hmm.
That's scary to me. That one man can convince Latino men who are voting for him in droves, unfortunately, that he's their savior. That a group of people can be so into that one man to want to commit crimes for him. And that there would still be people after a man has 34 felonies, been convicted of rape, called for the death of the Central Park Five in the 80s, routinely discriminated against Black people in his properties, has lied 67 or 76,000 times you can look it up at the Washington Post lie tracker. And people still want to vote for that person to be the leader of the free world. Mm-hmm. That to me is scary in that people have such an inability to think. Mm-hmm. For themselves long term. They're only thinking about, well, is my gas price low? Are my eggs a low price? Am I doing well? Is my business doing good? Mm-hmm. And not whether the institution would be okay. And one thing that we've always had in America is that we can have two different candidates, but everyone always respected that if I won, I won, and if I lost, I'm going to shake your hand and say, good job. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to move on, and because the country was more important than the party or the person. And when you have a candidate where he says he's more important than the party, right? You got Republicans who've left the party because of him, and he says he's more important than the country. Mm-hmm. We are in trouble if people believe that and actually vote for that person. Mm-hmm. If we end up with that president, then we deserve what we get. I hate to say that, but we do, because we've been apathetic and we've allowed that to happen. And I mean, Hitler was probably elected. He didn't force anyone to vote for him. He just used his propaganda tactics to convince people that they should be angry and that they should be mad at other people and that it's always someone else's fault. And then he convinced them to vote for him. And that's similar to the gentleman running, in the Republican Party.
Sort of crazy seeing a leader not being able to take accountability. That's scary.
But parties used to not put people like that in power.
Right.
There were parties who said, you're cute, that's good, but we're not going to let you run us over because we're a party. We've been here for hundreds of years. Mm-hmm. Well, at least 100 years you've had a Republican Party. But lately the party has wanted so much power that they'll roll over for someone to say, take us where you want as long as we keep the power. That's a very dangerous thing. So I'm hoping that we don't have someone become president who does that. But if we do, we brought it on. We can't blame him.
Is it almost like voting for a referendum of just vote, just get him out of here?
I don't know. I think yes. I think the vote, and people will say, oh, there's good on both sides. Mm-hmm. Right now, we're not voting for both sides. Right. We're voting for democratic institutions to stay intact or not. Mm-hmm. I don't agree with everything here says. And no one should. Mm-hmm. But I do believe that a candidate who wants to protect our institutions and our country is more important to me than the party. And so I'll vote for anyone who wants to protect the institutions and who will play fair.
Mhm.
And if they lose, they will walk away with dignity and congratulate
hand.
the other one, right?
Mhm.
Trump's the first president who didn't even leave working papers for the next president for Biden. Just petty.
Yeah.
We don't need pettiness. We need
An adult.
grown men who are courageous
Right.
and respectful, and they say, good game. You
Mhm.
play a basketball game with your cousin or whatever, you say good game.
Yeah.
You don't
GG,
take the ball and
as
go
the
home.
kids would say. Very GG.
GG. Oh,
Yeah.
GG. I'm learning.
GG in the chat. Oh God, I can't believe I just said that. That's so embarrassing. No, I don't play that many video games, so it's, I'm not down with the kids like that.
I love that though. I'm learning.
Yeah. God. To just sort of close it out, because we have about 5 minutes here left. I know we've kind of gone
Everywhere.
and gone back to it again and again. I'll get better at this one day. That day is not today. But to sort of close it out, do you have any words of wisdom for, I guess, my generation about this upcoming election, or just life in general, and sort of talking to each other, the importance of learning how to critically think and learning the different sides of issues?
Wow.
Just down to
Don't
barrel.
be afraid to make mistakes.
Like that.
I think people
I
are
like that.
afraid to give their opinions because they're afraid to make mistakes. You can't get better unless you make mistakes, right? Think about people who start businesses. They had like 4 or 5 businesses that failed before they found a winner. And so don't be afraid to make mistakes. Give your opinion. Recognize that you are not the expert.
I love that.
So many
I
students
love
think,
that.
well, my opinion is equal to yours. Well, but you don't even have a degree. What are you talking about?
I love that.
Your opinion is equal. Just learn. Be humble. You're not the expert, but the more you listen, the more you will become the expert. That's the genius of it. Yes. In fact, I tell students, go out and read The Death of Expertise by Tom Nichols. It's a great book.
Write that down.
The Death of Expertise by Tom Nichols. It's kind of dated, but it talks about confirmation bias and silos and how, if you're a fantasy guy, you only watch fantasy shows and you never watched any other shows ever. And if you're a murder mystery person, you only watch murder mysteries, and you're just in these silos,
Tunnel
and all
vision.
you do is confirm what you already know. And you can't, get to know anyone else if you don't realize, 1, you're going to make mistakes. 2, you're not the expert, but you will be if you keep listening to experts.
I love that.
Yes.
That's great. Well, that is it for today. I have a bit of period brain today, so we're everywhere. I have my hot water bottle with me. It'll be fine. Thank you for listening. Like and subscribe if that's a thing. If you have to take poli-sci for gen ed,
Face to face.
face to face, or hybrid, because honestly, it was a really great class, and I do credit you for, or your class specifically, for getting me out of my shell and sort of making me have an opinion.
You're doing a podcast.
Yeah.
Actually, I can say it was all because of me.
Yeah. I'm fine with that. No other teacher. Don't tell Professor Loomis I said that. Thank you for watching. I will.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Thank you so much for saying yes. Yeah, maybe we'll get you on and we'll play Battleship next.
Checkers. Oh yeah. Checkers.
I'm really good at tic-tac-toe.
Oh, there we go.
I don't lose. And it pisses people off. But anyways, thank you for watching. I think we'll have Professor Loomis next.
Yay.
If he says yes, he hasn't emailed me back. Yay. I mean, I can go up to him and talk to him, but I refuse. I don't want to. He's scary. But yeah, thank you for watching.
Thank
bye
you.
bye.